All right, good to see everybody. Welcome. All right, let's see here. It is Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. It's good to see everybody. I hope you all are having a fantastic Wednesday, already the middle of the week. Hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna quickly kick off the stream by covering a couple things. We're mainly going to be talking about a particular earnings report that we got after the bell from a company called KB Homes. The ticker symbol is KBH. I think they're down like 3% in after hours trading. Let me actually check that right now. KBH. Okay, so they're down about 2%, nothing major, but I really wanted to follow this stock. I was on the conference call after the bell as they reported earnings. And I think it's really important to cover this because one of the main, I would say, leading groups in the market has sort of ironically been home builders. And you wouldn't really think that a lot of the home builder stocks would be leading this market, but they are, one of them being KB Homes, so we'll talk about that. Revenue came in at about $1.94 billion. That was up about 60%. Earnings per share also up about 29%. $2.47. Now cancellations are up pretty aggressively. We'll talk about that. Management really wanted to stress on the conference call that they didn't want to get too aggressive with the price declines because that would then in turn, even though it would help close more deals, it would really upset a lot of the customers who have purchased those properties at premium prices, and it would set off a cascading effect. So really interesting stuff there. We're gonna talk about that a little bit more. They have a backlog of about 7,600 homes, representing about $3.69 billion worth of future revenue. Now, is that revenue really real? Can they actually sell those $7,600 homes at those premium price points? I don't know. We'll talk about that. CPI, okay? Tomorrow is a big day on Wall Street. Thursday, we are going to get the CPI report out. Now, consensus on the street across many economists and many of the major investment banks is that consensus is going to come in right at 6.5%. Okay, we have Wells Fargo that has the lowest estimate on the street of about 6.3%. all the way to the other end of the field at the highest estimate coming from Scotiabank at about 6.5%. So we'll talk about inflation, we'll talk about CPI. I also want to discuss Mexico. Now, we've been talking about emerging markets, we've been talking about the leaders. It seems as if we're having this rotation out of the United States into emerging markets. But Mexico is a really big outstander here. So one of the ways that I track Mexico is through an ETF, the iShares Mexico ETF. The ticker symbol is EWW. It is rocking on all cylinders, up about 121% from the lows. And I think that's all I got. Anything else? No, I think we're good. All right, let me go ahead and wrap things up here. I will put away my laptop and we will get started. Hope everybody had a good Thursday. I'll say hello to some of the viewers in the chat. I see Gary Carpenter, good to see you. Evan Weeks, welcome my friend. Hopefully your day gets a little bit better. Fuzzy Dice, Lena Sandoval, Dave C, what's up Dave? Chris Beeman, good to see everybody. Do I need the umbrella? I do not think so. We're gonna take a risk. We're gonna take the chance. Jay is here, welcome Jay. I see Sunshine After Rain, welcome everybody. Poon Adam, British Gray, Austin City Limits, Tyree, Emma G, Big Task at Hand, and the like. Okay, let's head outside. Julie M, good to see you. Let me make sure we're all locked up here, and I'll see you guys downstairs. Sally, good to see you. Yeah, home builders were interesting today. We'll talk about that. All right, I will see you guys on the ground floor. Okay, here we are on the corner of West 57th Street and 6th and a Half Avenue. Welcome to New York City's Billionaires Row. We are standing outside of the 157 building, as well as Central Park Tower and 220 Central Park South. I hope you all had an amazing day. I see Gigi NYC, good to see you. Chris B, welcome. Ryan Iglesias says, hey Tom. Kevin says, hi Tom, welcome. Kevin, good to see you. Big task at hand. Alfred Kloss says, Tom, did you say Thursday? Yeah, so tomorrow's Thursday. We are going to be getting the much anticipated CPI numbers. Now, consensus on the street is for about a 6.5 reading, but we pretty much, excuse me, we pretty much have estimates all over the board. I think the highest estimate is from Scotiabank, and the lowest estimate, I think, is from Wells Fargo. Dan Zhang is here. What's up, Dan? Cindy Foley, welcome. Vincent is here, says, hey, Tom. I know Richard Vogel says, back to winter time. It's pretty cold out tonight, but it's not too bad because it's not windy. That's really the only thing I care about. If it's windy, if it's super windy, then not too happy about it. This is the Steinway building, or the Stairway to Heaven building. 111 West 57th Street. Man, it looks amazing tonight. You could also see the Essex House. This is the JW Marriott Essex House. A lot of the hotel stocks have been performing rather well. Steph UH says, hey Tom and everybody, what's up? Aaron Frazier says, I'm late tonight, but hey Tom and team. Aaron Frazier, you're actually right on time. We just started Austin City Limits. I will be back next week. We will be back in Miami. I'm actually really looking forward to it as well, because it's been really cloudy and gray skies almost every single day. Although today was a little sunny out. It was a little sunny. We had some sun breaking through. Yeah, Evan Weeks says everybody saw the hospitality employment numbers. That's true. You know, last week we got the non-farm payroll numbers out, and the sector, I should say, with the most exuberant job growth was hospitality. Was definitely hospitality. Now, a lot of people interpreted that in a positive way and in a negative way, saying that, you know, hospitality jobs generally tend not to, you know, pay as well as some of the other jobs in tech and in healthcare. So maybe putting an inference of some little bit of a lopsided recovery. Now, today we're going to be walking all the way to the east side. I want to check out the 59th Street Bridge. Right now we are standing on the corner of Avenue of the Americas and 57th Street. Look all the way down. You could see Radio City Music Hall as well as the One World Trade Center. TC says thoughts on the CPI report tomorrow. Now, all right, I'll give you my thoughts on that. Now, the market has been rallying pretty hard, I would say, into the report. We've had a broad-based rally in the U.S. equity markets, as well as pretty much the rest of the world. Now, I would say the leader, or the country that has been standing out the most, has really been Mexico. Now, has anybody been watching any of the Mexican stocks or the Mexican ETFs? They are really, really leading here. And I think it's for a multitude of reasons. I think, number one, not to get too off topic from the CPI, but we're developing this pretty aggressive trend of manufacturing moving away from mainland China and back to the Americas. And, you know, Mexico can be very, very price competitive with China. And for obvious reasons that we talked about before, such as, semiconductor manufacturing, supply chain mishaps, and the zero COVID policy, which luckily is now just unraveling. A lot of countries, specifically the United States, is really steadfast on focused upon bringing a lot of that manufacturing capacity back to mainland United States and the Americas in general, right? Closer to home. Now, the dollar has also been selling off. The Dixie, I think, is trading at about 103, which I think has been fueling this rally in emerging markets. But it's interesting because we've rallied into the CPI report. So I think if we see anything there where inflation comes in hotter than expected, even if we have inflation, let's say just the headline CPI number drops, but there's specific things within the report that signal very sticky inflation, I think we could have a pretty strong reversal here in the markets. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is a rally into the CPI report, and then once we get the CPI numbers out, it's sort of like buy the rumor, sell the news? Hey, Deborah S is here. What's up? Dan Zangs' Tom Mexico also has a cartel problem right now with El Chapo's son being arrested. Yeah, they definitely do have a big cartel problem. Now, I don't want to speak too much on that, but it is a big issue because, the United States, we have a huge problem here with fentanyl, and a lot of the fentanyl is actually coming through the southern border. And if the Mexican government, obviously they're corrupt, not to say ours isn't, but if they can't really throw a hammer down on the cartels, I think we need to step up and fix it ourselves as Americans. TC says, I think the markets have rallied too far too fast. Well, the S&P 500 finally broke above its 50-day moving average today. So we are finally back above the 50-day. Julia M says, yes, I think we'll rally into it. GG NYC, good to see you. Evan Weeks, is hard to stop the flow when the demand side is so strong. That's true. But here's what I've always said about the fentanyl, and I think it's important to talk about because it kills quite literally now hundreds of thousands of Americans a year. You can literally take a baseball size, probably about double the size of a baseball, of fentanyl, and that's enough to kill the majority of the United States population. It's pretty scary to think about. So, people say, oh, you gotta, build a wall and that'll stop all the fentanyl. It's not true. Because you could just toss that over the wall. You need, almost it's gonna look like, I hate to say it, but I think if this persists, this fentanyl crisis, and it is a crisis because it's turning a lot of major U.S. cities into like zombie land, and it's really, really horrible to see what it does to people. It literally turns people into zombies, and I'm not trying to be, crude or anything, but it's disgusting. And I think the United States government, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually declare war on, some of these cartels, but we won't. Enough about that. Let's check out the Apple Store, but then let's head all the way to the 59th Street Bridge tonight. Hey, Michael Joseph says, I think a lot of people think the Fed will slow down if inflation slows. It's a speculative right now because fundamentals in the economy and earnings still may not be priced in. This is Michael Joseph. That is true. That is very true. Another thing that's kind of interesting is I was looking at some previous data as it relates to earnings declines and when the market bottoms. And it's, we sometimes forget that the markets are forward looking, right? The market tries to look forward out about 6 months, right? And the market is a discounting mechanism. So are we seeing earnings estimates come down here? Yeah, we are, but they've been coming down for about a quarter now, right? A lot of the major Wall Street banks are slashing earnings estimates for the S&P 500 for the next fiscal year. But if you look back throughout history, the market actually bottoms and the market starts to turn up. Love the sound of the skateboard. The market actually bottoms and starts to turn up while earnings are still falling. And I don't know the exact reason for that, but the market, as I said, is a discounting mechanism into the future. It looks ahead about 5-6 months. So I wouldn't be surprised if, later this year, maybe in Q2 or Q3 of 2023, we start to rally here, and you have a lot of analysts coming on the major, financial channels and the financial networks saying, hey, this doesn't make much sense. I don't know why the markets are rallying when earnings are declining. But that actually happens almost every time. So a little bit interesting there. Here we are outside of the beautiful Apple store. Hey, Will M., good to see you. Thanks for being here. Michael Joseph's a bunch of short squeezes going on right now. Bed Bath & Beyond was up 20% today. Yeah, Michael Joseph, you make a good point. A lot of I was about to say the dog S word, but a lot of the horrible companies, right, are going through a little bit of a bear market rally. Now, these stocks have been absolutely pummeled. This is 432 Park Avenue, by the way. Now, these stocks have been absolutely pummeled. We've been talking about, and I think it was yesterday, here's a look inside the Apple store through these little tubes. But I think we were talking about this yesterday as it relates to extension below the 50-day. Did we talk about that yesterday? Maybe that was the other night. Anyway, well, usually extension of about 25 to 30% below the 50-day really, really warrants a very aggressive rally. Sort of like these snapback, very, very aggressive bear market rallies, which I think some of the stocks like Tesla, that I think has about like a 38% extension to the downside of the 50, we may have these very aggressive snapback rallies. You talk about a lot of the meme nonsense like the Bed Bath & Beyonds, which are probably going to file for bankruptcy, GameStop, the AMC nonsense. A lot of those type of stocks had a good day today. But I actually view that as a very bearish indicator. I actually view that as very, very bearish. Cher is here. Says, hello, everybody from the UK. Welcome. Good to see you, Cher. We are now looking at Central Park from Central Park South and East 59th Street. It's a beautiful night. Thank God it's not windy. Iris Lou, good to see you, Iris Lou. I see Natalie is here. TC says, WeWork stock so cheap? Seems like a great concept. Well, they have a lot of financial issues and not a very profitable business. I'll give you guys one more view of the Plaza Hotel, one of my favorite hotels in the entire city, and then we will continue to walk east. Hey, hello everybody from Ukraine. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Walks on Wall Street on this very quiet yet cold night in Manhattan. Adventures of Mr. V says hello from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Welcome to you. Thank you everybody from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn for joining the live stream tonight. But we'll jump right into it. Here's one of the things I really, really wanted to talk about tonight. And it was the earnings report of KB Homes. Okay, so I forgot to program the earnings release in the Nightbot, but if you just Google KB Homes Investor Relations, it'll take you to the Investor Relations page, in which case all you need to do is punch in your first, your last name, and your email address, and it'll actually send you a link to the recording of the conference call. Now, I was on the conference call live. I thought it would be very important to join because Homebuilder stocks have been really leading this market in a kind of a weird way, right? Because you would think in an environment where interest rates are continuously going up, you have not only existing home sales but new home sales decelerating and falling off a cliff, you would think that would also translate into the home builder stocks getting crushed, right? But we're actually seeing the opposite. It's actually one of the sectors or industry groups in the market that has been acting really well. Now, there were some good things about the report, and there were some really, really serious negative things about this earnings report. Now, if we take a look at earnings per share, or EPS, came in at about $2.47. That was up, I think, 29 or 30%. If you look at revenue came in at $1.94 billion. That was also up 16%. But as we talk about here on Walks in Wall Street, investors really don't care what the companies did the previous quarters, right? They're looking into the future as we talk about the market as a forward-looking mechanism. They want to know what the financial conditions and the forecasts are going to be for the next quarter, the next fiscal year. And I think the biggest takeaway for me with this report, let's actually walk down one block. We're going to walk down one block and then make a left. Is that cancellations are rising very, very rapidly, which means people who have committed to buying a home due to economic uncertainty, due to increased interest rates, and due to general market conditions and uncertainty about the economy. And these aren't my words, by the way. This is the CEO's words from the earnings call. A lot of people are canceling their existing contracts, and would-be home buyers are sort of stepping out of the market. So transaction volumes were down significantly in the quarter. Hey, Morales is here. Says hello, Tom and everybody. Thank you for joining us. Abdullah is joining us. Good to see you, Abdullah. Iris Luce, Tom, China is buying a lot of gold. What do you think about that? Well, I don't think it's just China. I think it's world central banks. And we briefly mentioned this last night, I think, that, I'm not a big gold bug. I think, as you guys know, I don't really own or have any exposure to precious metals. But I think we can't deny and ignore this massive trend of central banks, the Federal Reserve and other global central banks, adding to their gold positions. Now, this is a very famous place. I think it's also very, very expensive. It's called Tao. Has anybody been here? I've never been, but I always hear about people going here, and it's extremely expensive. I think it's sort of like a restaurant and nightclub all in one. Is that correct? Davi is here. Says hello from Brazil. Welcome everybody from Brazil. Good to see you. Gail Arnold is joining us. Thank you. Nina says agree. World central banks have been buying. Oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't know land and property. But they've been buying for sure gold. They've been adding to their gold positions for sure. Mock says, Tom, precious metals might be the trade of the decade. They might be. They might be. And, okay, let's jump into that for a second. Take a look at gold, right? Where did we close today, everybody? If you look at the COMEX, maybe 1880, something like that. Anybody know where gold is trading out right now per ounce? 1880, around there. Now, look at a monthly chart, okay? Look at if you go to tradingview.com or any type of charting software you use, you could either look at the ETF too, look at the paper, just look at GLD. Maybe that's a little bit easier for those of you who can't pull up the futures. Just look at GLD, put up a monthly chart, and tell me what you see. To me, this is Park Avenue, by the way. This is the brand new office building, 425 Park Avenue. Really, really nice. Now, to me, that's the largest cup with handle pattern I've ever seen in my life. Like, by far. PJ's is 1884. Okay. BMST says Tao is all fluff. Yeah, I never go to those things anyway, but we're standing on Park Avenue, everybody, and you see the beautiful why am I forgetting the name of all these buildings tonight? I had a long day. I've been working like crazy. 432 Park Avenue and then 425 Park. All in one. And we talked about Citadel Securities taking up, I think, the 22nd and the 23rd floors of those buildings. Karina Thompson, welcome. Thank you for joining us, Karina. Nina says, me too, work nonstop. Yeah, things are picking up. That's definitely one thing that I can say anecdotally. The holidays are always very, very slow, but it seems as if everybody is doubling and tripling down on work, which is good. You know, everybody's back in the office. You know, guys, did you see Disney? So I think Bob Iger, I forget who sent it to me. It may have been Teresa Diaz. I think it was you. I mean, it may have been somebody. Anyway, regardless of the point, did you guys see the big news out of Disney? Now, we've been talking about this trend of hybrid work, right? And I think the trend of hybrid work is really being pushed by the employees, obviously, not so much upper management. I think upper management, C-levels, board of directors really want people back in the office. But obviously, low-level employees want to work from home. Now, there was some news out of Disney that Bob Iger wants corporate employees back in the office for at least 4 days out of the week. Did anybody see that? I'm not sure how that's going to go over, but if I had to make a prediction, I think a lot more corporate executives are going to be making that type of decision, trying to pry people back to the office. Evan Weeks says, of course they do. They have office space. That office space is expensive. That is true. And I think that's also why we've been seeing many larger corporations try to get out of their leases. You know, I always think about Meta when we talk about this, when we have this conversation. Now, Meta was able to, I think, sublease a lot of their space to KKR here in the city. Now, they were going to move into the Hudson Yards, but obviously Zuckerberg is reneging on those plans for obvious reasons, trying to cut costs as much as possible after he got flamed on the Q3 earnings conference call. And now KKR will be taking over that space in the beautiful Hudson Yards, which is an unbelievable office building, by the way. All right, Lexington Avenue team, you can see the beautiful Chrysler building. I always like coming into Lexington Avenue at night because it tends to be a little bit wider of an avenue, and there's almost no foot traffic after 8 o'clock. It's actually quite nice. Hey, Gary Carpenter, what's up? Brad's brain is here. Good to see you, Brad. Hope you had a great day. You know, maybe we'll just walk past our pal Michael Bloomberg, his office. We'll see. Nina says, yes, I'm one of them employees. Enjoy hybrid. More productive, can take small walks at lunch. Yeah, it seems like it's a lot better for the employees, obviously, but you know, I think as we go into this economic downtrend, companies are going to be trying to maximize productivity out of their employees. And, you know, if a CEO like Bob Iger is calling everybody back to work, you know, I think that's the start of, the start of an emerging trend. But look, I could be wrong. We'll see. Here is Bloomberg's headquarters, everybody. We are outside it right now. One of the more unique buildings in Manhattan. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of Bloomberg's office building. It looks like they just took down all the holiday decorations here too. Hey, Rafed is here. Says, hey, Tom, good to see you, Rafed. TC, welcome. Yeah, so I'm assuming if you're a big executive at Bloomberg, your driver will drive you right up here into the little roundabout, and you can go right into your office, very private. Hey, Clark Rumsey. What's up, Clark? Welcome. Austin City Limits is Tom. What do you think about the CPI report tomorrow? Well, there's really only going to be two main things that I'm going to be looking for. And number one is as it relates to the CPI, is shelter costs. I think in order for the Federal Reserve to really back off here, I think you're going to need to see the numbers as it relates to shelter costs really come down very aggressively. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, Tom, if you look at all the leading economic indicators, you'll already see that shelter costs are probably going to drop drastically. And you would be correct. But if you look back throughout history, right, I understand the data. I look at these leading economic indicators as well. But the Federal Reserve always overdoes it, okay? So if we're trying to anticipate when they will make a significant change in the direction of the monetary policy, I think it's going to need to show up in the data, in the actual CPI report first, before they even make a decision about it. Now, I think this is the Lipstick building right here. Maybe we'll actually go down there. I forgot who it was that wanted me to take a walk that way, because there's been a big hit Netflix documentary that's been going around about Bernie Madoff. And I think one of his main offices was right down here. Yeah, but I mean, Austin City Limits, those are going to be the two main categories that I'm looking for, right? Number one is shelter costs, makes up about 33% of the CPI. So I think, that's going to be a main one to watch. And then the other one for me is food, overall general food costs, because that's what average everyday Americans are really concerned about, in my view. Hey, Mac Lover says, yes, it is a Netflix show. Well, we're about to walk past it right now. Okay, if this is 57th Street, 56, 55th, it looks like it's on 55th Street, so let's check it out. Hey, Gail Arnold, what's up? Oh, DWG says it's on the 17th floor. Interesting, so it's on the 17th floor of the Lipstick building. We'll check it out, might as well, we got some time. Hey, Dan S. says, hey, Tom, just a shout out to be following you. Thanks so much for the referral to Demodoran last week. He has hundreds of YouTube videos, including many of his classes. I will try to tackle one each day. Hey, Dan, thank you so much for that very kind compliment. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's a really, really great resource. And just to make an observation about that, here's another shot at 432 Park Avenue. Now, Demodoran is, arguably, right? And this isn't to take away from any other professor. There's amazing professors at every business school. But I honestly think that you can't get a better educator than Professor Demodoran as it relates to corporate finance. In my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong. But I'll tell you why I think that. I'll tell you why. I truly believe he believes in his heart. He believes in free access to information. Name a couple other professors, right, that actually take the time out to pre-record their lectures and post them on the internet for everybody else who may not have the financial means to go to NYU Stern or may not have the grades to get in there, right? And what you'll notice, additionally, even though he has a very, very big YouTube channel, for obvious reasons, he's a world-famous professor, much of his videos almost have no views, but they have a couple thousand views on each. And these are like the golden keys to the kingdom, right? And it just is a good lesson for everybody in human psychology, right? So you have a YouTube channel like that, a world-renowned professor that teaches at one of the best business schools in the entire world. Some of the most successful businessmen and businesswomen, right, have taken his courses. And much of the information that he teaches is available online for free, yet nobody will watch it. But they'll watch, and this isn't a knock at anybody else, they'll watch, top 10 penny stocks to buy, right? And it'll have 2 million views on it, right? It just goes to show that most people, as it relates to the investment business, they're not interested in learning a systematic, fundamental framework to investing. They're all about, give me a tip, give me a stock tip, right? That is laziness, okay? That's being a kid, okay? So if you want to actually learn how to do things properly, it's pretty much all available to you for free online. You just got to put in the time. It's a kind of an interesting way to think about it as it relates to investor psychology, market psychology, all that. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is it. So on the corner of East 54th Street, and where are we? Lexington? Yeah, 3rd Avenue. This is the Lipstick Building. So I think this is where Madoff's operation was. Maybe we'll cross the street to give you guys a little bit of a better view of it. Hey, business here. What's up? Good to see you. Hey, Top G says, yo, Tom. This is passing Bernie Madoff's old lair, I know. Before, I forget who it is. It may have been Pond Viewer. I forget who emailed it to me. I never knew this was his office. I never knew that. So let's explore it. Let's check it out. It looks, unfortunately, just our luck, it looks to be all undercover with scaffolding, but whatever. Laura M's was built in 1986. It kind of does have that 80s style to it, doesn't it? Now, I know it's all under scaffolding, so if you guys want to, Google image the building, you'll sort of see what I mean by 80s style. It's a nice building, but you can tell it's a little bit older. Hawaii. It was like, Tom, it was on the 17th floor. I wonder who took over that office space. Or maybe it's totally vacant, who knows? I mean, most all the retail space. I think the internet is no good over here. Christine, yes, that's where he and his boys did their trading, both real and fake. Well, there it is. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? 18th floor, that is where Bernie Madoff had the crazy operations. Let's cross the street to get a better view of it. Maybe that's what will push me to get Netflix to check out the documentary. Hey, Tom AK says, hey, Tom, nice to see and hear you again. Happy 2023. Thank you, Tom AK. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us here on Walks from Wall Street as we check out Bernie Madoff's old building, the Lipstick Building, on 3rd Avenue and East 53rd Street. I think this is the best view we're probably going to get. So according to the chat, he was on the 18th floor. Hey, Penelope, good to see you. Chad Tuckers is always a great listen. Have a good evening, Tom. Thank you so much, Chad. Appreciate it. Oh, and it looks like you can get the subway right here, too. The 6, the M, and the E train. But we're actually going to continue to head east. We're going to head all the way to 59th Street. We're all going to head all the way to the 59th Street Bridge, I should say. Now, as it relates to KB Homes, I wrote down a couple of interesting statistics coming out of the earnings report that was released today. They have a backlog of about 7,600 homes, right? And look, the CEO is obviously trying to talk a big game as it relates to, we could sell through this backlog, this big inventory of homes. But how are you so sure you could do that? And here's why I say that, okay? So KB Homes has a backlog of about 7,600 homes, and he says it represents about $3.69 billion in future revenues. Now, I was sort of doing the numbers here, okay? I'm listening to the call, and he says that he projects he could sell through all this inventory at an average price of about $490,000 to $500,000. But in the entire report, he just got through telling us, and I actually wrote down the exact statement, so I don't even paraphrase the guy. He said higher interest rates, higher inflation, gave home buyers increased caution and provoked them to step out of deals and prevented them from moving forward with new deals. So if we continue on this path of Federal Reserve hiking interest rates, which we may get another rate hike February 1st, how can he be so sure that he is going to sell the $7,600 home, the 7,600 homes at the same prices that he was commanding in 2021? Now, I'm not calling him a liar, right? He's the CEO of the company. He can't be too negative, right? He's talking to investors. But if you are seeing customers cancel contracts, and another thing that the CFO came on the call and said is we're seeing that we're having to put additional financial incentives to get new deals closed, right? So maybe that is paying down the points on your mortgage or whatnot. If the tides are turning from a seller's market to a buyer's market, how are you so confident that you're going to be able to sell those 7,600 homes at the same price that you commanded just last year? I don't know. Any thoughts there? I think that's a little bit, I think those estimates and that forward guidance may be a little bit too optimistic, perhaps. Hey, big talks. Tom, I'm looking at buying a home. Do you know what the average price on a home loan? Are you talking about like the average rate on a 30-year fixed? Is that what you're talking about? Michael Joseph, this is Tom. Watching that documentary, you realize there were 3 other people who clearly helped him with the Ponzi scheme. I always thought he was alone. Yeah, if you're running an operation of that size, you gotta wonder, was it a huge operation? I think so. But I think he was the only one who went to jail for the entire thing. Is that not correct? Bradley Filler says, Tom, could asset managers be a target buyer for those homes? That's a good question, and I think yes, maybe. So if a lot of these home builders have a backlog of homes, well, maybe they could do something called a block sale, where they'll sell these homes for potentially pennies on the dollar to institutions that will use them as single-family rentals. And it's good that you mentioned that, because on the call, management also alluded to this, and I'll sort of explain what I mean. They alluded to the fact that they think that they could sell these homes if they reduce the price. However, they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to do that in fear of customers who already purchase homes at the appropriate price, $490,000 to $500,000, just a few months ago. So they were afraid that that could cause a cascade effect of angry and disgruntled customers saying, hey, if you're going to give this guy, $30,000 off the home, well, you got to give that to me too, because I just bought this home and we're in the process of building or construction or whatever it is. I just did that 3 months ago. So they're trying to prevent doing that. So what they're trying to do is offer incentives, such as paying down the points on your mortgage, to sort of keep everybody at bay. So one of the things that they could do, so they don't affect the market, is go around all these big private equity firms and say, hey, we have 350 homes in Orlando, Florida. We have 350 homes outside of Austin, Texas, in a cul-de-sac, so it's easy for you to manage. Would you buy these for 70 cents on the dollar? Would you buy these for 50 cents on the dollar? Maybe they could do something like that. But I think if they did that, there would also be more uproar from people, because has anybody been seeing these, I don't really want to say like documentary series, but big news organizations are starting to cover quite aggressively a lot of institutional asset managers buying up all of the single family homes and renting them to people. And that's really sort of cutting a lot of first-time home buyers out of the deal. Hey, Steve CR, what's up? Frank the Tank says, I've heard the continued low inventory will keep prices high. Kristen, or Keith's is selling all 7,600 in light of higher interest rates. Billy says, so his 409k projection or whatever. I'm not sure what you mean. All right, we got one more block to walk up. Let's wait for this car to turn. Looks like a little Fiat. Is that a Fiat or is that a smart car? I think it's a smart car. Looks like something. Wow, Nina says KB homes built in Southern California for years, basically built with cheapest products. Now, it's funny you mention that, because I was thinking about this the other day, and it seems like the build quality of homes back in, even the 50s and 60s seems to be better than the build quality of today. Everything just seems to be like cheapy drywall. I don't know. Does anybody agree with that? Or maybe that's just too big of a broad generalization, but it seems like, those concrete block, concrete slab homes of way back in the day, these things were so much sturdier than the little cheapy cardboard homes we're putting up. Now, again, I'm not a home builder. I don't know anything about this. I'm just basing this off of perception. But I don't know. Hey, Vinny Castellano. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Emma G. Welcome, Emma. John Bader says, nothing is made with quality anymore. Okay, here we are, everybody. We made it to the Ed Koch Queensboro 59th Street Bridge. Dusty Cole is here, welcome. This is the on-ramp to the 59th Street Bridge. Hey, Sandra Dickinson says, yes, I agree, Tom. Even window frames are all plastic, not wood framing. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like everything is... And the reason why I say that is this. Every time I walk past, something like St. Thomas Church or even some of the, the brownstone buildings on the Upper West Side, it just seems like they're a lot better put together than these newer style construction. Hey, Lauren M says, hey Tom, good to see you, Lauren, welcome. Keith says, Tom, check out latest on printed homes. A few months ago, one featured in LI for $200K. Interesting. Ryan Beck, what's up? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Mexico. And Mexico is performing very, very well. Much better than a lot of even the European stocks. So I'll give you guys a ticker to look at, right? I'm not saying to buy this, but notice how I said look, okay? So look at the iShares Mexico ETF. The ticker is EWW. So I've been watching this and it came up on one of my screeners. And the thing is up 121% from the lows. And it sort of corroborates, right, with our emerging market bull thesis. Let me give you a little bit of a better dead-on shot of the 59th Street Bridge, all the way in the distance. But after many years of emerging markets, you look at ETF, EMM, VWO, a lot of these stocks have been getting pounded all last year, mainly because, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons is we've been going through a very, very strong US dollar. And I think now that the Dixie is coming down here and we're having this big, big manufacturing rotation out of China, out of Asia, and to the Americas, Europe as well. I think this is really going to benefit emerging markets, and I think we may be entering a few years here where emerging markets really outperform. Hey, Ryan Beck says, hey Tom, good to see you. Looks like bulls are on parade for a bit. Favorable CPI tomorrow, and a 4,000 close definitely doable. Yeah, Ryan, we were talking about at the very beginning of the stream, right? We briefly went over all of the major estimates for tomorrow. Now, consensus, the average estimate is about 6.5%, right, for the CPI tomorrow. I think the bank who has the lowest estimate is Wells Fargo. I think they're estimating a 6.3% CPI, and the bank with the highest estimate is Scotiabank at 6.5%. Or at 6.9, excuse me. And, it just seems like it may be too good to be true that we've been rallying across the board here into the CPI number. Now, the S&P 500 finally closed back above its 50-day moving average. But, look, we heard from the Fed yesterday. We talked about what Fed Chair Jerome Powell said yesterday evening. So I think we may have sort of like a buy the rumor, sell the fact thing going on, but also to maybe take the other side of the trade. This is where you get the Roosevelt Island tramway here. Maybe we'll have to take that one night. Interestingly enough, let's walk a little bit further down. Interestingly enough, we're coming off a time where a lot of these stocks that have been beaten down relentlessly are very, very, very much well extended to the downside from their 50-day moving averages and their 200-day moving averages. So I think a combination of maybe a little bit of a short squeeze here, just a normal bear market rally. I mean, we'll see. The only real indice that I could say that is in a durable uptrend is probably the Dow. Right, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is both above its 50-day and its 200-day, acting rather well. Hey, Frank the Tank is here. What's up? Keith, this is compressed wood equals sawdust plus glue. Hey, Theo's here. Says, hey, Tom, what's up, Theo? Welcome. Jessica and Lisa says, you were completely right, Tom, about the homes made back in the day. My house was built in 1954 with concrete and good wood. My neighbor remodeled, no concrete used, and they used compressed wood. Yeah, like I bought a really old house. Now, would you consider a house from 1950? I think 1951 was the exact year my home was built. Would you consider that an old home? I know it's not as old as some of these, 100-year-old homes, but, 120-year-old homes. But at the end of the day, I mean, the thing is like such a solid brick. Oh, is that a pigeon? Ooh, that's a dead pigeon. Yikes. But the house is so solid. Like, even if I try to hang something on the wall, it's difficult to, because everything is solid concrete. Zozo Bob says it's old for Miami. But then again, I mean, if you're looking at buying a home in Southern Florida, there's no other option but to purchase, concrete slab and concrete block homes, right? I mean, I guess very seldom do you have the option of buying a wood frame. But in my view, right, if you're going to live in a place where it's very, very prone to hurricanes, I think I would want to stick with the concrete block, right? I mean, does anybody live in the South or Southern Florida or anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world where they have hurricanes? And do you have a wood-framed home? Hey, Q50 is here. What's up? This is Tom. I saw on Pix 11 News that they are going to ban gas stoves. I saw something like that too. And it was so crazy, I actually had to tweet about it. And it's just nonsense, man. It's almost to the point where it's just not worth commenting about. Like, think about that. I mean, we pay our politicians, $175,000 to argue about gas stoves. I mean, both Democrat and Republicans, right? A lot of politicians on the right were putting out these, crazy tweets about, you're not going to take away my gas stove. And then all of these Democrats were putting out these ridiculous tweets about how it's going to, cause asthma and you need to ban gas stoves. I'm like, guys, we have crises in this country where we're having hundreds of thousands of Americans die every year from fentanyl. And you're worried about a gas stove. It's embarrassing. I don't even want to talk about it. It's so bad. Think about that. 175 G's to just do nonsense. It's sick. It's actually sick. Anyway. NPC 007 says most new homes are vinyl siding, cookie cutter. I know. Yeah, Dan Zhang summed it up perfectly. Politicians always spend the most time arguing about things that the people care least about. I know. It's hilarious. But then again, I was thinking about it last night for a little bit, and I think it's a good topic to expand on maybe a teeny bit, mainly because tonight we are talking about single-family homes, right? A lot of home builders reporting earnings. I feel as if this isn't real. I feel like it's just a bunch of fake news that politicians on both the right and the left are just creating like a psyop for everybody to get a rise, right? Because, I mean, really think about it. Like, it was in every New York Post article. It was in every CNN article. And you kind of have to think to yourself, it's a beautiful dog right in front of us. You kind of have to think to yourself, am I being baited into something? Right? I always catch myself. I always try to catch myself. If I see an article that is attracting a lot of views, I always say, okay, what is the bias here? And am I being baited into arguing about something? So I think this whole gas stove thing, I think is just a way for politicians to distract the masses from something else and get them bickering and arguing about something so trivial. So that was sort of my viewpoint on that. Hey, LL is here. What's up? I know. Yeah, everybody's like, it most likely is bait. I mean, because think about it. You know, if I was methodical and evil, sitting behind a desk, I'm like, all right, what can I do today to get a rise out of somebody and make the sheeple, you know, fight about it and distract. It's sort of like look here, don't look here, right? So yeah, I'll get them distracted to argue about we're gonna ban gas stoves because it's something so ridiculous that you don't even believe it. So you just start arguing about it, and I think that's exactly what they wanted to do. David Pershing says, yes, Tom, look over here at the shiny object. Yeah, like shiny object syndrome, so. Because isn't like 40% of the electricity generated through gas, natural gas in the United States? Yeah, and that's another thing. Meanwhile, we have a 3-day nurse strike here in New York City. 100% right. All right, everybody, more importantly, this is East 59th Street and Sutton Place. Now, Sutton Place is absolutely beautiful. It is an extremely, extremely gorgeous neighborhood here on the east side of Manhattan. And you could see the 59th Street Bridge. This will take you all the way into Queens. But this personally is one of my favorite neighborhoods in the entire city, and you'll see why. I'm going to take you across the street here. This is York Avenue, I think. I think this is York. And you guys are going to see a really beautiful view of the skyline of Long Island City. But check out the view all the way uptown. Here's another good shot of the 59th Street Bridge. Yeah, Dan Zhang says, Tom, Midtown East is my favorite part of the city. You could feel the history there. You can. It's amazing. Julia M says, Tom, the tram ride at night is the best. You must do it. We may do it one night. We definitely may do it one night. Maybe we'll do it on the weekend. Check out the... Okay, so this is a good example, right? We were talking about KB Homes tonight. Now, look at the... Like, this looks solid, right? It looks solid, brick and mortar. Like, everything looks super solid. Heavy brick. Wow, look at this shot here. Look at all the, I would say, more older style buildings in Manhattan. Has a nice contrast with the cloudy skies in the back. Really nice. Yeah, Ryan Beck, I know. Crazy, right? Okay, so Dan is like, walk across Roosevelt Island. How is the internet service over there? I think that's my only concern about it. We'll definitely have to check it out. But take a look at these homes. They're absolutely gorgeous here. And we're actually going to be walking all the way down here. This is a park where you can view the gorgeous views of Long Island City. Hey, Brittany. Oh my God, Brittany McMurdy. What's up? Welcome. Happy 2023. Always a pleasure to see you in the chat, Brittany. Thank you for joining us. Tom Tax says, hey, Tom. I'm Tom from New York City as well. Love that. Always love to see a fellow Tom here in New York. Hopefully your 2023 is going fantastic. Now, check this out. This is an amazing view of the 59th Street Bridge. This is Sutton Place Park. Now, they usually close the park at dusk, but I think this one appears to be open. Check out that view. So this is the park. You could sort of sit down, enjoy the view. There's a little place to walk around, hang out here. Now, I think I showcased these homes before. Now, I always said if you have your designated driveway and your own parking place or own parking space in New York City, you can guarantee that you're very, very wealthy. Take a look at these original homes. They look fantastic. You also have your own driveway, which is pretty interesting. Well, you know what? These guys even have their own backyard. Look, you walk down the stairs here, and then you have your own backyard. It looks like you can grill out here, you can hang out. Pretty nice view. Now, if you look all the way down here, this is the skyline of Long Island City. And you could also see all the way to the Williamsburg Bridge. Julius's zoom. I think my fingers are too cold to zoom, unfortunately. And this is the East River project that they're working on. This should be completed soon. I didn't even know about it until we came over here the other day. Super peaceful here. This is the Altice building. I think that used to be City, didn't it? And then Altice took it over. Altice is a major cable company, but I think they're trying to break into wireless too. But check out the buildings that are right on the water. You must have an amazing view. You could only imagine. Yeah, Ken Glass says the river has some strong currents. Listen, I was looking at that myself. It's like swirling. Weird. But if you guys are enjoying tonight's live stream, please feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'd love to have you guys join us. Now, I think we just hit another major milestone on the channel. I think we're up to 27,800 people, which is just unreal. So I want to thank each and every one of you for that. I never would have imagined we would have grown this channel to the size that it is. And this channel has surprisingly provided me with some unbelievable networking opportunities. So I really appreciate everybody, showing up every night, participating in the conversation, because I've been learning a lot. And just thank you for everything. It's been wild, man. It's been really crazy. This channel has definitely opened up a lot of doors for me too. So thank you for that. Check this out. Beautiful building. Love all the fire escapes here. Hey, Mars Tax. Thank you, Tom. Love from Europe. Love you too. Thank you for being here. Ren 1018. Thank you. You know what? I think I take that back what I said. I always said if, money wasn't an issue for me, I would get a place at 157. That's my favorite building. But I think if I really had a lot of money, how cool would it be just to buy like an entire building like this? You have your own garage, your own driveway, and like live in a physical house on the island of Manhattan. I think that's unreal. Could you just think about that? Like you live in it, you own a physical home. That's awesome. I think maybe I would live in Sutton Place. Now that we've been walking the neighborhood a long time. And you could tell, guys, look, they're redoing almost every single, I guess you could, I don't know if you could call these brownstones, but it looks like they're doing a complete gut renovation of a lot of them. Hey, Savius is happy for you, Tom. I found your channel by watching AC channel. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know, truth teller says that would be a damn dream. It's beautiful here. Sutton Place. Now, there is a location, I forget the exact, I think it may be like 55th somewhere, but you got to check this place out. It's called Sutton Place Synagogue, and outside of the synagogue is this open space, and it actually has a legitimate waterfall, and it's so beautiful. You could sit down, it's a public park, and you just listen to the sounds of the waterfall coming down. I know I'm not describing it the best I could, but it's an unbelievable place. It's like an escape from the city. You should check it out. Right outside Sutton Place Synagogue, it is a beautiful open park to the public, and it has an outdoor sort of like water fountain waterfall. It's amazing. I really like these homes too. Yeah, like, could you imagine? I'm assuming probably one person lives here. You have your own gate, you have your own front door, and you own an entire home on the island of Manhattan. That is crazy. Now, if I had to pick between these three, I'd pick this one. You know why? Look at the door. Love the contrast, the big, deep, reddish brown door. Tell me that thing isn't gorgeous. Look at that. I like the design. Whoever the designer was, they picked a really good color for the door. It pops. Makes the building pop. Yeah, Bonnie Hudson says, love the door. Isn't it fantastic? White house, black windows, black trim, reddish brown door, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's like a colonial style. You're right. Alan says looks colonial. You're right. Dan Zhang says, Tom, do you think these homes are historic landmarks, meaning you can't make a lot of changes to them? That's a good point. I don't know, actually. I think you may be right, but I'm not too sure. So this neighborhood here has its own sort of police, I don't know what that is. Maybe like checkpoint, police checkpoint. They still got the Christmas tree up too. I think this is the park that they close it at dusk. We'll check it out, we'll see. Still have the Christmas tree up. Oh, Vincent says, how much do you think they go for? Man, 13, 14 million, maybe more. I think that'd be fun to guess. What do we think one of those, I guess, colonial homes go for? 13, 14, maybe up to 20 million? Thoughts? Anybody? $3 million for the whole thing? I'd buy that. If it was really $3 million for the whole thing, I'd buy it tomorrow. $25 million? Holy crap. So here's the reason why I said 13 million, because some places in Brooklyn, like Red Hook, I think you can get your entire one for like 10 million. John says at least 20 to 30 million dollars. I'm gonna have to do some research into it because Ryan Beck says Brooklyn used to be 15 million. You probably went up, you're right. Now my favorite, well, I shouldn't say that. I was about to say my favorite neighborhood in Brooklyn is Red Hook. I'm gonna rephrase that. I think it's the most unique neighborhood is Red Hook, for those of you who have been there, may not have been there. But I really, really like Greenpoint. I actually used to live in Greenpoint, Brooklyn for a time. Very, very fun. Definitely a lot of distractions there. But Greenpoint is a fantastic town. Love that place. Keith says, looks as if apartments in Sutton Place, $4,000 for a 2-bedroom. That's actually a pretty good deal, actually. Now, rents are coming down, though. Rents are coming down. I forget who said this. It may have been Rent 1018 or it may have been R2D2, but you guys are correct. So I was on Zillow, right? And I think this is a good topic to expand on. We were talking about KB Home's earnings report earlier in the stream. But there are actually some landlords that are offering about 1 month free rent. So maybe that will show up tomorrow in the CPI report. We'll see. Harper's houses here in Florida are $500,000 for the most expensive ones. For the most expensive ones or the least expensive ones? Well, where in Florida are you referring to? Yeah, Bradley says rent decreasing could drive CPI numbers down. You're right. Hopefully they do. I want rents to go down. And I think this downturn in housing is going to present an unbelievable opportunity for people who did the right thing, number one, and who were patient throughout the pandemic. And here's what I mean by that. Does anybody remember, and we would constantly have conversations on the live stream about this, and we would say, do not get suckered in to these ridiculous, egregious bidding wars for properties. We were like, do not get sucked in for offering hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking. Don't do the crazy thing of waiving all of these inspections. And a lot of people couldn't do it. They were rookies, right? And they were getting into bidding wars and they were waiving inspections. But now we're finally starting to see home prices decrease. And I think it's going to shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And we're already starting to see that data, right? I would really strongly advise everybody to go to KB Home, Investor Relations page, and re-listen to the earnings conference call from today. You'll notice pretty much the entire C-suite came on the call and said they're finding themselves having to do a lot more to close deals and to get existing clients from canceling their contracts. They're doing things such as, paying down points on the mortgage. They're doing things such as price reductions. So that shows you that the market is fundamentally shifting and that buyers will have more negotiating power over the sellers. So I think if you were diligent and you've waited, I think there's going to be some pretty good deals to be had. Stephen Bates is analyst on CNBC, said uranium should be good. Like what, the uranium is the commodity or just uranium miners or something? I know Evan Weeks is bloody finally. YC says, thank God. Hey, Dallas F says, what's up, Tom? Good to see you, Dallas. Thanks for joining us. We're walking Midtown East. Now, check this out for a crazy contrast, okay? This is how diverse Manhattan is in its architectural vibrance. We were just looking at those old colonial style houses, and then all the way in the distance you have this thing. 432 Park Avenue, that is this massive, just big block in the sky. Then you have Central Park Tower, all the big megatalls, kind of crazy. Hey, seriously, 1920. We are on 57th Street, headed back into Midtown from the east side. This is the on-ramp to the 59th Street Bridge. You'll see everybody. Ooh, yikes. Dallas says, Tom, what are your guesses for the CPI number tomorrow? All right, I'll give you a guess. I think it's that time anyway for everybody to drop a guess. So everybody, let's do that. So consensus is 6.5. I'm gonna go 6.6 to be a contrarian. What about you guys? And then we'll tally up the numbers, and then we'll have a Walks on Wall Street number. So if everybody could put the guesses. Ryan Bex is 6'3". Julius is 6'7". Okay. 6'3", 6'7". Bree Grams is 7'5". Whoa. Explorations is 6.69. Hilarious. Ratfink 6'8". Zozo Bob 6'2". Strider 6'9". Palmetti's 6'5". 6'7". Okay. Hey, Tariq Khan, what's up? Wayne McKay says 5'9". Brittany McMurdy 6'8". Well, we definitely do have diversity in our CPI guesses. Victoria 6'7". I may have to go back tonight on the Long Island Railroad and tally up these numbers and then do an average number. I think I may do that. So I'll give you a perspective of what the major Wall Street banks are predicting. Okay, let's look at Wells Fargo. You know, Wells Fargo, by the way, crazy news yesterday. I think we covered it, did we? I don't know. I think I'm too tired tonight, but I think we covered this yesterday. Wow, look at that photo of Manhattan. Guys, look at that photo of Manhattan. My God. That's an awesome shot. Now, Wells Fargo announced that they're getting out of the mortgage business altogether, which is kind of crazy. Julia M says, Tom, do you think the president already knows the numbers? Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah, of course. Of course. I think the president of the United States is briefed on major economic numbers well before they come out. I believe that. And if anything, I actually think they should. I think the president of the United States should do that. Wow, Nicholas Stura, I have not heard about that. The riots in Brazil, I have not. I saw something on Twitter about it, but not too much. All right, so let's run through the numbers. Wells Fargo predicting 6.3%. I think Scotiabank is the major investment bank that has the highest estimates for tomorrow for the CPI number. I think they're estimating about a 6.7% print. But the average economist on Wall Street is expecting 6.5%. I think Bank of America, we're going to hear from them tomorrow, by the way. Wait, tomorrow's Thursday. No, we're going to hear from Bank of America on Friday. But Bank of America thinks we're going to come in a little bit light at 6.4%. So it's going to be a busy tail end of the week. Tomorrow, inflation numbers, And then Friday, we are going to hear from the Wall Street mega banks. Look at this fruit cart. I think this is probably one of the best looking fruit carts I've ever seen in my life, at least in Manhattan. Usually the fruits are all disgusting, but this guy looks already stocked up. Not bad. All right, 57th Street, let's cross to the south side. For those of you who just are joining us, tonight we were actually walking downtown a little bit. We checked out the Lipstick Building, which is actually where Bernie Madoff had his office on the 18th floor. I never knew that, but thank you to the chat for telling us. Ren 1018 is where is the guy. Well, it's freezing out, so usually what happens, I'll show you guys. I'll show you. So you see the fruit cart right here? There's nobody in attendance at the fruit guy. He sits in the TD Bank because it's warm. And then when he sees somebody walking around, wants to buy anything, he comes out. Because it's freezing out, guys, tonight. Freezing. Those mangoes were $1, a pretty good deal. Now, that's something I got to do when I go back to Miami. There's probably going to be like 50, 60 mangoes all on the ground because I haven't been there in a while. And if you have a mango tree in Miami, you're really not supposed to let the mangoes fall and sit on the ground because it attracts all of the iguanas. And next thing you know, you'll have iguanas breeding in your backyard, and then they could, break into the house, which is not fun, I guess. I don't really want to have iguanas in my house. LL, how much are the mangoes in your neck of the woods? Bradley says, Tom, don't they encourage iguana hunting in Florida? They do. They actually do. They're an invasive species. And, they have exploded. Okay? They have absolutely exploded in and around my house. And I'll say this. I think it may be good because in southern Florida, we have these palmetto bugs. Have anybody heard of those? Now, a lot of people mistaken them for cockroaches. They're like this big, they're giant. They look like cockroaches, but they're not. And the iguanas eat them. So I haven't had not one, knock on wood, thank God. I haven't had one roach, not one palmetto bug inside the home. Because I think the iguanas eat them all. Yeah, Cammy G, I know. Crazy. Cool other farmer says, Tom, do you have any orange or lemon trees in your yard? I don't, but I'm thinking about planting some. So I'll tell you what I got. I got a mango tree. I have a coconut tree. And an avocado tree. Those are the 3 trees that I have. But I don't eat avocados, so sometimes I'll give it to the neighbor. Look at this. I know, cool weather farmer says you are so blessed. That was actually one of the things that really sealed the deal for me on that house. Is because I remember walking in the backyard with the realtor. Good guy, nice guy. And seeing all the fruits. I'm like, this is insanity. I'm like, this is fantastic. Now, I'll give you a quick story because I think a lot of people would benefit from this story. And we talk about sales a lot, right? I am in sales. I'm in tech sales. That's what I do for a career. And I'll tell you something, all right? Every person that I know in sales that has been very successful, I'm talking about like top 10% of salespeople, whether it's in real estate, enterprise software sales, tech sales, anything. They've always been, they don't think like the average salesperson. And I'll give you an example. Here is 425 Park Avenue. Beautiful office tower. So here's the example. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot. I learned a ton. They don't think about hitting their quota next month. They don't think about hitting their quota next quarter. They think about where they're going to be 5, 10 years down the line. They think so big and long term because the goal is to build a reputable book of business of clients that you can take with you anywhere, right? And you build that over time. But the biggest mistake I see for new salespeople is they think about, I just want to make the 10 grand commission check. So it forces them, that mentality forces these salespeople into doing things for short-term benefit while disregarding the long-term end goal. So here, I'll give you a perfect example. And this is the reason why I bought my property from this particular realtor in Southern Florida. So 2014, 2015, I was looking at some property, Normandy Shores, Normandy Isles in Southern Florida. And I was working with just like some really just incompetent and I would even say unprofessional realtors, like these like total slime balls, okay? And very dismissive of me, kind of just like, kind of almost nasty because I obviously wasn't, in the buying. I wasn't, I was a kid. I was, my 20s or younger 20s, like 19, 20. But there was this one real estate agent, such a professional, actually stayed in touch with me for 7 years and always kept following up, being courteous, being kind, sending me data about the market. And he's like, Thomas, he's like, you're a smart guy. He's like, you have a good job. He's like, I know you're not ready to buy right now. He's like, but when you are ready to buy, we're going to get you a really good deal. Oh, look, they took all the Ferraris out of here. Ooh, for a private event. Look at this. It's his private event. Wow, the Ferrari of New York showroom is currently closed for a private event. I wonder who's renting that out. But anyway, long story short, this guy thought long term, right? And he's like every single year following up, sending me, hey, happy holidays to you and your family. Here's a quick market report that I whipped up. And he always kept me in the funnel, right? No high pressure nonsense, no high pressure BS, keeping me in the funnel, giving me a call once a year, feeling me out, where am I, always bringing me the best deals, bringing me off-market deals. And I bought a home from that guy 7 years later. 7 years later, I'm like, I'm gonna buy from that guy. And here's why it's important. Because there's so many people out there that will totally be dismissive of you if you're not ready to buy today, and they'll just be outright almost rude. But could you imagine if you treat every customer with respect and you, honestly, I think about it as going to war for the customer. You're providing them with data. You actually care. You're consistent over time. Think about the massive funnel you're gonna build. There could have been 20 of me, right, 7 years ago. You may not get the sale today, but you will get the sale in your lifetime. So if you build a funnel over 20, 30 years, you could have the phone ringing, 6 years from now from somebody who said, hey, remember me? I was gonna buy from you, but I wasn't ready. I'm ready now.
And the phone is going to be ringing off the hook left and right of people ready to close deals with you from 6 years ago. So the goal is always keep that funnel full. Always follow up the customer, always do the right thing, because they may not buy from you today. But if you do the right thing, if you're a professional, okay? If you're a professional and you don't pressure people, they're going to buy from you sometime. And he always stood out to me. So I think that if there's any sort of salespeople in the chat, think long term. Think about where you're going to be in 10 years, 20 years. Build that funnel. Don't worry about making the 10 grand now. You don't need the 10 grand now. You need to build a massive funnel of people that trust you and good people, and they will take care of you forever. Yeah, YC says 100% agreed. I'm sure we've all worked with, salespeople that aren't particularly pleasant. Check out the architecture on this building. Love the American flags there. Yeah, Zozo Bob's book of business plus referrals equals steady income. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Zozo Bob. Gregory says customer service is very important. I think it's paramount. It's paramount. Well, I think that's why in sales, it's called the 80-20 rule, if anybody's heard of it. 20% of the salespeople, both male and female, do 80% of the transactions, right? And those 20% of people are the professionals, right? So I think if you can model yourself towards those people, emulate the behaviors, you are going to be a rock star, right? And if there's one thing I could take away, it's not, perfecting the perfect pitch. It's being consistent over long periods of time and genuinely caring about your customer, right? Michael Cannon Brooks is the CEO and founder of a software company called Atlassian. It trades publicly under the ticker symbol TEAM. And the motto of the company, I can't say it out loud, but the whole model of the company is don't F the customer, right? That is the catchphrase of Atlassian, is don't F the customer. And I would strongly suggest going on YouTube and watching a lot of interviews with Michael Cannon Brooks. And you can learn a ton about thinking long-term and doing the right thing by the customer. And that is why Atlassian has been such, I would say, a standout in DevOps, if I had to say. Hey, DWG, what's up? Guys, look at this. It looks like they're doing something here in Tiffany. Maybe it's going to be the grand opening here. Yeah, Jeff W277 says Atlassian makes Jira. Yeah, Jira, Confluence, really, really good software. Bagels and Walks, good to see you. Looks like they're setting up something. Hey, Robert is here. This is LVMH owns Tiffany. Yeah, and didn't the founder of LVMH, isn't he now I would say the richest guy in the world, dethroning Elon Musk? Evan Weeks says those are camera dolly tracks. Maybe they're shooting a movie. I know they're gut renovating the entire thing, so maybe they could potentially be filming like a commercial, like an opening day commercial at Tiffany, something like that. Hey, Anthony says, this is excellent advice with this caveat. I have always taken the long-term relationship. I will be here for approach, 30 plus years sales. Sometimes people disappoint you. A pro keeps on. Oh yeah, of course. Agreed with that. These things are kind of weird. Look at this. I know Jamie Massetti says, Tom, WWE sold to the Saudi Arabia investment fund. I saw that. I'm sure, who's the main guy's name? Vince McMahon, right? Is that the main? I'm sure he got a pretty nice payday. Let's just say that. Hey, Rock Miller 3 says, greetings from Detroit. What's up? Good to see you, Rock Miller. Somebody says, go across the street and see the robot. What robot? I don't see a robot. It's funny because we were talking about robotics last night. We were talking about how if you notice at any of the major fast food restaurants, notice the next time you order at a McDonald's or anything like that, and notice how the machine will always ask you every time before you check out, are you sure you don't want to buy something else? And notice the products the machine always recommends. And they always, ooh, that was a massive accident. No, not massive, little fender bender. I think everybody's all right. Man, that's too bad. It was just a little fender bender, I think. Doesn't look like too much damage, right? I think he was trying to turn and we may have turned into him. Nicholas Sturris says you should report the accident to 911. Absolutely not. Come on, man. It's a ridiculous statement. Why would I get involved in that? Come on. But anyway, it's just a fender bender. They could deal with they're big boys. They could drive. They're at the age where they could drive and handle their own stuff. They don't need walks on Wall Street to do it. Notice how at the end of the checkout on the kiosk, it'll always recommend the most high margin products. And I posted this on Twitter yesterday to sort of showcase this. At the end of the checkout on the McDonald's kiosk, before you check out, it always says, are you sure you don't want these 3 things? And they are always the highest margin products on the menu. Always, every time. So I think that's good. As robotics and machines roll out across the country at many QSRs, fast food restaurants, I actually think it's going to improve overall margins at these businesses and drive incremental revenue. So I'm actually very bullish on that. Look at this dim sum place. Dim Sum Palace. Looks closed, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, Zozo Bob, you're right. That's exactly what they recommend. Indians exposed investigations as New Yorkers are the best at minding their own business. Yeah, I mean, I just think it doesn't involve me, right? Somebody got in a little fender bender. They can handle it. They're adults. No big deal. Just an insurance claim. That's it. Emma G says, yep, Amazon Fresh Grocery UK always asks this when you're trying to check out. And see, that is, let me take you guys through here because you'll be able to see. I think this is another Tao location, I think. That is the efficiency of a robot over a human. Now, we talked about this last night. Now, robots are probably better for transactional retail sales, not business-to-business sales. What is this called? Hibachi, right? The hibachi grills? That's so cool. Because think about a person behind the counter at a Walmart, at a McDonald's, at a Burger King. Probably about 30% of the time does the person say, hey, do you want to order this as well? Do you want to try our milkshake? Do you want to try the cookies? No, they just take the order and that's it. Right? These people are, they're probably tired. They worked a long time. But the robot never gets tired. The robot never forgets. And the robot will ask that every time. So think about the sales that could drive. Oh, this is Nobu, not Tao. Yeah, there's two famous places that everybody talks about. One of which being Nobu, and the other one is Tao. I've never been here either. Anybody been to Nobu? Hey, Nicole Smith is here. Says, hey Tom, what's up, Nicole? Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Here we have a gorgeous view of Billionaires Row, 157 and the Steinway building. Mars texts, Tom, there's a Nobu in my town in Montenegro. Wow. Is it really De Niro's? I didn't know that. I didn't know Robert De Niro in that. That's crazy. Holy crap. Michael Joseph says Nobu's a lot of money. It was a $500 bill last time I went there. Well, how many people did you go with? Was that just maybe you and one other person? $100 a plate. Hey, Mike Tyler says, hey Tom, when are you going back to Florida? I should be back next week. Please God. I'm actually really looking forward to it too. It'll be nice to see the sunshine for a couple weeks. I should be there for 2 weeks, so I'm definitely excited about it. I think I've reached the point in New York where, after about a month of, darkness and cold, I think it's good to get away for maybe 2-3 weeks, see the sun, hang out outside. So I'm excited. I'm actually looking forward to the trip. Definitely looking forward to it a lot. Wow, Alan says cold front this weekend in New York City or Florida. Mike Tyler says, Tom, it was 80 degrees today. Whew. Man, I love that, dude. Christine Brown says, Tom, The Big Short mentions Nobu. Did they really mention that in that movie? I've watched that movie a bunch of times. I may have passed that up. Richard Vogel says, how do you get around Miami? Well, usually I take the public transportation, but I actually just bought, what are they called? Like a little Vespa, a moped. It gets 100 miles to the gallon, and it'll be able to get me to and from Brickell, and it'll save a ton of time. That's really all I need. I mean, 10 miles here, 10 miles there. I live very close to the beach. I could walk to the beach. I could ride my bike to the beach. But I think it's worth it to get a little, motorized Vespa, I guess, because I never knew they were so cheap. They're like $1,500. I always thought they were going to be like 10 grand. So, YC says my scooter was stolen. Damn. Trish S says, you're very close to my old office. Can you slow down? Yeah. Where was your office? This is mine. This is my office. 142 West 57th Street. Right here is West 57th Street and 6th and a half Avenue, right at the Russian Tea Room. And right across the street from my favorite Billionaires Row tower that kicked off the entire trend, 157. So this building, 157 and Central Park Tower, is the same developer, the Extel Group. Trish's show 150 again. 150. So this is 142. This is 142. 157. Let's check it out. Let's see. This is 140. So we got to walk this way. Hey, Ratfang, thank you so much for the $2 donation. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much for your support. Wow, look at this. All right, so this is the Russian Tea Room. Look at it. That's amazing. I'll try to give you guys a peek inside. Hopefully you guys saw a little bit inside. Really beautiful in there. CPQ. I did get it from a location in South Beach. I forget the exact name of the shop, but I have to pick it up when I get there. Should be back Monday. This is Carnegie Hall. Here we have 7th Avenue. If you look all the way downtown, you can see Times Square. Oh, you know what we forgot to talk about? Shouldn't take too long, but you know, guys, BlackRock announced that they're going to be laying off about 500 employees. So not the biggest layoff in the world, but still, you never want to see something like that. Now, we've been seeing this trend, right? I mean, Goldman Sachs came out and announced an additional 4,300 layoffs. I think those employees unfortunately got laid off on Monday. Coinbase did all their layoffs today. I think they laid off about 10% of the entire company. So hopefully nobody here in the chat was affected by that. But, you know, the last thing I'll say about that is, you know, Wells Fargo, and we've been talking about them because they have the highest gross exposure to home mortgages, and they are getting out of that business now entirely. So I think there's probably going to be mass layoffs coming there too. This is a good shot of Central Park Tower. Yeah, Michael Joseph and Google also announced layoffs today as well. But if you've enjoyed the live stream so far tonight, please hit the like button on the stream and click the subscribe button. Subscribe to Walks on Wall Street if you're new. We go live at 8:30 p.m. and discuss the financial markets. A quick recap of the stream, everybody. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark here. CPI comes out tomorrow. Consensus is 6.5%. KB Homes reported earnings today. They had a pretty decent quarter, but all of the forward-looking metrics and the forward-looking indicators, I would say, were very bearish, right? Lots of cancellations, mainly due to higher interest rates. And I think we really need to be paying attention to home builders specifically, because a lot of the home builders have been acting really well, right? Not only KB Home, but almost every single home builder in the group has been acting very well, trading near 52-week highs, above 50-day and 200-day moving average. So it's either somebody is wrong, it's either the price action is wrong and it's going to catch up with reality, or the market is forecasting an environment where the real estate market's not going to get as bad and prices aren't going to decline as much as everybody thinks. Lastly, that I think we should be watching is gold. I think the last time I checked, which was right as I started to go live, I think gold futures were trading at about 1880, right around there. If you look at a monthly chart, okay, a monthly time frame of gold, even if you want to look at the ETF or the paper, type in ticker symbol GLD. This looks like a massive, massive cup with handle pattern. Now, the dollar has been very, very weak, so I think that is fueling a lot of the big moves in gold. Also fueling the big moves in Mexico. You know, take a look at the iShares Mexico ETF. It's up about 121% from the lows. It trades under the ticker symbol EWW. And also emerging markets. We've been having a ton of money flowing into emerging markets as well. Obviously, valuations have been compressed, and maybe the market is forecasting a big rebound in earnings supported by a weaker US dollar. Gary Carpenter says Tom, gold is a great investment. Audrey says watching your walks and talks is so much more interesting than anything on TV. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. C-Struck says, Tom, what stock would you invest in today if you were a first day beginner? I wouldn't. If I was a first day beginner, I wouldn't invest my money in anything. I would use all of my mental capital into learning how to invest the proper way, and any money that I was going to spend on buying stocks and things like that, I would, invest in an education. The good news is the vast majority, like 90% of everything, is free, available for free on the internet. We always recommend a lot of good sources here on Walks on Wall Street, so anything I've recommended is total free information. So you just got to put the time and effort into it. But I think above all, I think if I was just coming out of college and hold on. I think if I was just coming out of college and I had to do it all over again, and this is sort of what I did, but I think a lot of people, when they're young, they focus too much on the investing side of the house, and they don't focus enough on the income generation side of the house. Does that make sense? Because you could be the greatest investor on earth, but if you don't have any money to invest, it's kind of pointless, right? Unless you're going to go the OPM route, right, which a lot of people do. They raise money from investors, other people's money, and they get really good at investing, and they invest other people's money. But if you just have a regular job, you'd be surprised with how much money you could make if you just go get a regular 9-to-5 job, a career, and throw everything you have into that career. Whether it's you're selling software, whether it's you're selling real estate, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, HVAC mechanic, an electrician, a nurse, whatever it is. If you double down and triple down on your career and build fundamental skills and you get really, really good at your job, well, chances are you're going to get paid a ton of money. And if you save all of that money and you live very frugally, well, then one day you will have a sizable account to make some very, very big investments. I mean, just think about it like this. If you can focus all of your energy, right, on learning a skill, you become the best, one of the best in the world at that skill, right? Maybe you're the best software engineer, whatever it is, right? You can apply this to any field. You're the best electrician, you're the best HVAC contractor, whatever. You know, you can make a ton of money. You can make a ton of money. And if you save up all of that money that you earned and you don't blow it on stupid stuff, like going out to bars and partying, well, you can save up, $500,000, $600,000, and just do the math. Think about if you can compound out $500,000 or $600,000 over 30 years at 5%. Well, do the math. That's a ton of money. That's a ridiculous amount of money, right? So I think if you're young, focus on getting good at something, right? Get a job and get really good at it and try to save up a bunch of money, because once you have some money saved up, it compounds out very quickly, right? I mean, just think about, the S&P 500. Historically, if you just put all your money in the S&P 500, it will generally return anywhere between 7 to 10% a year. That's a lot, right? Compounded out over an entire lifetime. So that's a ton. That's what I would do. Okay, 15 Central Park West, one of my favorite buildings here, right by the Trump International Hotel and Tower. Yeah, Zozo Bob's S&P has delivered 10% return over the past 37 years. Well, there you go, even better. Oh, everybody, look at this. They closed the gate. Hey, Pup is here. What's up, Pup? Beautiful building. Hey, Joan K is here. What's up? Brian says, I started my new career, or my new current job, about a year ago and took your advice. I'm at the end of my 20s. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would be surprised, and I've fallen trapped to this too. You always think the grass is going to be greener on the other side, right? But if you really assess your situation and you throw everything you have into your work, you'd be surprised with how much money you could make in it. I think you'd be very surprised. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go look for new opportunities at other companies. Now, the data does show that, if you want to get big pay increments, like big pay raises, you stay at a company for 2 to 3 years, and then you take whatever, accomplishments that you've done at that company, and you market yourself to another company, and you're probably going to get a big raise. Because the raises that you're going to get at your current job are probably the basic, 3 to 5%, maybe. But if you jump ship to another company and you have a track record where, hey, I produced this amount of revenue for the company, I closed this many deals, I've dealt with this, X customer, YZ customer, whatever, people will hire you, right? And they're going to pay you a lot of money. Lawrence says, Tom, how much did you make per hour out of college? Well, I had a salary, right? So I wasn't really working by the hour. I was in a commissioned-based tech sales job. So you would get your basic salary and then commission after that. So I wasn't working by the hour after college. I guess I could do the calculation, right, of what I made per hour. I think the money I made per hour, if you actually calculate it by the amount of hours worked, I think it'd be probably lower than you'd expect. Because I was putting in work. I was sometimes at the office till like 7, 8 at night, working a 70-hour week was not uncommon for me, especially with all the travel. You know, our main office was in Manhattan, but, you know, as a salesperson, you're traveling all over. You're in the Bronx, you're Brooklyn, Queens, you got to go to Philadelphia, you know, you're all over. So it's a lot. I'd say a lot of hours. Hey, Room Z, this is Tom. When are you going to jump ship to another vendor in the medical? Hold on one second. In the medical sales space. Well, I'm not in the medical sales space. I sell into those companies, but I don't sell medical devices. Excuse me. I don't know. I think I actually may be. You know, since we're up near Lincoln Center, we might as well check it out. I actually may be just totally getting out of tech sales entirely. I don't know. I gotta see. I think 2023 is going to be a big year. So maybe I think I want to pursue. I think we may be buffering a little bit. I'm surprised they don't have the gates up here. Hey, Steph UH, good to see you. Arumzi says, Tom, any industries that interest you once you leave tech sales? I would probably go in the hedge fund business. Yeah, Zozo Bob. Hilarious. You know, usually we don't get buffering at Lincoln Center. That's kind of weird. We never buffer here. Maybe it's just because my battery's low. Let me see. All right, well, we're here at Lincoln Center. I do have to go back to the office. So we have to go through this buffer city here. We'll try to walk through here and around. Maybe we'll avoid the buffering spot. Who knows? Yeah, the 80s did have great music. I do agree, Steph UH. Okay, let's head back to Midtown. I always lose track of time. We're already way over the 2-hour mark. But yeah, I think I'm at the age where you could still make I believe you could do whatever you want, right? I truly believe that. You could really do whatever you set your mind to. But I want to learn other things. And I've done really well, right? On a relative basis, right? I've done well for myself in tech sales. So I think I want to learn something else and almost in a way start from zero, but learn something from the best people in that specific industry. Whether that's real estate, whether that is, working at a hedge fund and working at the lowest rung, right? Sort of like humbling yourself and just learning, spending a year or two to really dig deep and learn about other things, broaden your knowledge base. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Yeah, Mike sees this sounds like something is in the works. Something is in the works. Just haven't decided yet. Ooh, Dwayne Reed is closed. Elias's politics. That is the one thing I will never do, ever, is politics. I can't stand thinking about politics. Will M says, are you going to trade full-time? No, I'd probably just go work at a hedge fund or something like that. Maybe go into private equity. I don't know. I gotta see. Who knows? I think long term, one of my main things that I want to do is really build out my personal real estate portfolio. And I think in order for me to do that, I may not even be right, but in order for me to do that successfully, I may need to actually work in the industry so I could build a reputation in the industry and build contacts in the industry. Like in tech sales, like it's a very small world. I know a lot of people. But, if I want to do, 300 to 500 unit, multifamily apartment deals, I have to really, get some contacts, connections there. All right, but team, I think we are going to call it. I'll take you guys back to Columbus Circle. Well, look, I think we had some good conversations tonight. It's a cold night, cold one out. I'm excited to get back to Miami, Florida next week. Should be fun. If you guys enjoyed the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Already Thursday, big day. Joseph Hardaway, thank you, sir. Steph UH, appreciate it. Hawaii, appreciate you. Thank you so much. YC, Bradley Filler, Dr. Longus, Abdullah, thank you so much. Mike C, I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on this very brisk Manhattan night. Bagels and Walks, Lila, Lena Sandoval, thank you so much. Will M, Michael Joseph, Elias, British Gray, Alexis Garcia, Truth Teller, Brad, thank you, sir. Dusty Cole, Fuzzy Dice, and to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there is always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. I'll see everybody right back here, live from Manhattan tomorrow. Take care.